Good evening and welcome to the Power of Now. Pardon our tardiness, but I'm Coach Mitchell.
And I'm Coach Darren.
We're so glad that you could join us tonight. Tonight, we just want to go over some of the things that we've already gone over before, but we really want to get into how you can grow your own produce just from the scraps in your kitchen and from the foods that you purchase from the market. And we have a really nice assortment from seeds to vegetables, from heads of cabbages, just a variety of vegetables that you can get started just from the things you bring home from the supermarket or the farmer's market. Coach?
Yes, and when we use the term scraps, what we're really talking about are the leftover pieces of the produce that we often would toss away. So again, as Coach Mitchell said tonight, we just want to show you a couple of things. And we want to also emphasize, which, we're only going to show you samples, but how much we've already started growing indoors as we prepare for the outdoor growing season. Things that you can do, in your home, in your apartment, your back porch. And, that's what we've been stressing since we started doing these segments, because we're really trying to encourage everyone to at least try to grow your own produce. And again, if you have children or grandchildren, you want to get them involved. And what we're going to share tonight too is you're going to see some of the containers that we use to start growing, some of the produce. So I think we want to start off with maybe the potatoes.
Oh, yes, because they are, again, another food that you can just start actually growing in your pantry, and you don't even know that you are actually growing another source of potato.
Yes, because here's the thing, we have the thing on the Power of Now session, we say that life is always lifing. Well, here we're going to say nature's always naturing. Okay? Nature will grow even when you are not aware of it. Like, you just cannot stop it. It's going to find a way to grow something. And a good example is, you ever see a plant grow in between the cracks of concrete? Which means you just can't stop it. Nature will find a way to grow. So what we want to do is, again, just show you how we leverage that. And were you going to say something, Coach Mitchell?
No, I was just going to say nature is always giving.
Yes.
It's always giving. And we want to take advantage of it in our kitchens, in our homes, in our gardens, inside and outside.
Yes. Now, there's so many reasons why you want to start this journey. And again, it's not an end-all, be-all solution. You're not going to be able to grow everything, but you want to start. And there are reasons for that. People complain about the prices of produce. They complain about the quality. But yet, some folks never do anything. Well, we're giving you a solution, an option for you to start taking control. On the I Am Well platform, we encourage people to take control of their health. Mm-hmm. Well, here, we're trying to encourage people to take control of your food supply as much as you can. Mm-hmm. Right. So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we emphasize, making your voices heard when we talk about social issues, the things in this world that may be happening in and around us that impact us. Well, food scarcity and food deserts, as Coach Darren just said, inflation is impacting the cost of food, and it's getting so expensive. If you could do a little bit, just to, ease the burden on your budget, growing up one potato, if you can hold that closer to the counter, one spud can produce a potato plant, which can produce multiple potatoes.
Yes. Now, what you see here is this one in the front. Here's what we normally see in our pantry. All right. When the potato's been sitting there for a while, it starts to grow these, they call them eyes, or spuds, and what we want to encourage you to do is don't throw those out. First of all, you can always cut them off and eat the rest of the potato if you want. I don't know if people just throw their whole potato out because they just think it's bad. It's not. It's trying to live and regenerate.
Exactly.
So what you can do is just cut that little slice off with the eyes on it, and then you take it and you can just put it, where there's water just touching the bottom of it, and it will start to do something like this second one.
I'll take this one off your
Okay.
hands.
All right, you see, yeah, their roots starting to grow. And then you have the green part, which is part of the plant. Now, potatoes, like other, like say tomatoes, they grow above ground. Potatoes grow below ground. But what you'll see here is this will continue to grow underneath, and the potatoes will grow from here, but it will produce a tall plant. So that's from the first thing I showed you. It then becomes this, and
Which you see the roots that are
yes, the roots right here.
forming.
The roots are formed, which will lead to the growth of potatoes.
And here is one that has been planted.
Mm-hmm.
This is the white potato, not the
Yes,
red. Yes.
yes, yeah.
So,
I'll hold that one.
okay.
Right. Yep. So yeah, what we have here are again eyes from a white potato. That's the plant growing, and then in that one is from a red potato, which has 3 plants growing.
My arms aren't long enough, but
Okay.
I think they can see it. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And if you notice, even the leaf structure is a little bit different on the red potato than it is on the white potato.
Yes.
And the stem is very strong now on the white potato. But again, you have the different stages from harvesting the spud from the potato from your pantry to the growth of the roots to get them established so that you can plant them. And this is going to go outside, and we're going to not have to buy potatoes in a couple of months.
Yes.
Because we'll be harvesting our own.
Now, that one little plant may grow, I don't know, 12, 15 potatoes. I don't even know if there's a limit.
If my mother is on, she'll be able to drop in the comments because she grows and has grown potatoes from just harvesting the spuds from the potato.
Yes.
So
I
she'll be
mean,
able to tell us, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
She'll be able to tell us how many potatoes approximately on average that you can get from one potato plant.
Because last year we did this, and I can't remember the number of potatoes we harvested, but I may have mentioned in one of the previous sessions, the mistake I made was I pulled the plant up too soon. So the potatoes weren't that large, but there were quite a few. They just weren't that big. And if you decide to grow, potatoes, there's one slight thing you want to factor in, unlike when you're growing other things in a container, is you want to have the right kind of pot or container, because like I said, your potatoes grow underneath the soil, unlike some other produce that grows above the soil. I just want to show you something, because last year, one of the problems that, we had was it used a regular, just a regular pot. So I couldn't see how well the potatoes were growing. And I learned that one of the things you could tell was if the leaves start turning brown, or if they turn brown, that's a sign that the potatoes are ready to be harvested. I have not mastered that yet. So this year, we're going to use a container that's specifically made for potatoes. Now, some people also use a laundry basket, which you can see through a laundry basket, and this way they can see the potatoes growing. But here's a potato pot, which basically comes in 2 pieces. You have the base, and then you have here where you put your soil in.
Right here.
All right.
Bring it back.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. You put your soil in here, and then this goes inside.
Right.
And there is a hole over here, which allows you to see how the potatoes are doing. Or you could just lift this up and see as well.
Without disturbing your potatoes.
Right. Because the whole thing would just come up. So this is just kind of a really nice tool or pot so that you can keep an eye on the potatoes. Now, some of these, like I said, they'll grow a little bit more before we put them in a pot, and I just need to check the calendar to see when they're ready to go outside in this region. Now, everybody's region is going to be different, so I need to check with the calendar to pretty much get a good idea as to when I'm going to put these outside. But I also just want to show you, we talk about using different types of containers. All right, we got potatoes growing in here. Now, what is this? This is just a plastic container from probably like tomatoes, cherry tomatoes or something.
I think those are cherry tomatoes.
Yeah. So you see you have your potato plant there. We're growing again another container from produce. And what's great about these is that most of these will have holes already in them. So you have your drainage holes, which you pretty much need for all your containers. All right, you have a bigger one here, same concept. But here, we kind of push the limits, all right? You see that? That is what? A toilet tissue roll, which just put soil in it, and you put your seeds. In this case, you have a potato plant in it. That's also useful. Now, because this will eventually is biodegradable, we can actually just take this whole thing when the plant comes up and just stick it in soil and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I show you that because it's a way of reusing things that you already have, to get started, because we're always looking at the most economical way
and the quickest way. I
Yeah.
mean, that way you're not wasting your produce or your harvest waiting to buy a planter or something to plant it in.
Right.
You have a lot of things at your fingertips right around your home that you can utilize to plant your produce and your seed.
Yeah. And can I just say something,
Mhm.
Coach Mitchell? One of the other things too about using these plastic containers, it also has an environmental impact, meaning, plastic that's already made, if you can delay, reuse, and delay the time in which it hits the landfill, it helps. Now eventually it's going to probably hit that landfill, but one of the things that's already made, it's going to have to be disposed of at some point. So the best we could do is keep reusing it.
Yeah, recycle at home.
Yes.
Just keep it in the circle, keep it going until, like Coach Darren said, until it can't go any further and
Right.
you have to, toss it out. But reuse your containers.
Yes. Now I'm going to just kind of switch, Coach Mitchell, and maybe let you talk about, you see this tall plant right in front of us? This is much taller than the last time we showed this, and this is a what?
This is our avocado. And if you enjoy avocados in your smoothies, you enjoy them on an egg salad sandwich, or however you enjoy your avocados, you don't have to throw the seed away. You can actually save it, root it, and grow you a beautiful plant. Now, I'm not sure if it will reproduce avocados, but it will make a really nice house plant. So all you do with your avocado seeds is you just take them out of your avocado, of course. You can peel the skin, soak it in water and peel the skin. Or you can just take it, wrap it in a wet paper towel, stick it in a Ziploc bag, seal it, put it underneath the sink because it needs a cool, dark place to start rooting. And after about 2 weeks, maybe about
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, it'll split open, just like so. I hope you can see that. It'll split open and the root will start to form. Once your root starts to form, you just take it, skew it with a couple of toothpicks to hover over water, and just let it nestle over water just so that the water just touches the bottom and that the root is in the water, but the water only touches the bottom of the pit, if you will, the seed. And as you can see, I think this was 1/27, January 27th, that we started this avocado seed.
Yeah, in the water.
In the water,
Yes.
in the water. All of these were, I think, January
Yeah.
20. Yeah, January 27th. So here we have a really long root, and the stem of the plant is just beginning to form. It's really delayed. It's a little slower than its sisters or brothers. It's an avocado. We'll call it a brother. we'll call it a male. This one here, you can see how the root just grew right out of the middle of the pit. And it's what, about 18 inches in height now? About?
Yeah, I'm thinking, probably 14 to 16.
About 14 to 16, okay.
And that one's ready to really go into the
This
soil.
one can go into the soil, right? And here's one where, it's almost getting there. We have about 6 inches, 6 to 7 inches of plant there. So we'll give that a couple of more weeks before we transplant it to soil. But again, you can harvest your seeds, grow either for fruit or for visual
Just have plants. Yeah.
plants in the home, and they're they're really good for filtering the air in your home. So it's not for nothing. So you get the benefits of it either way.
Yep. So, this plant, like I said, is, first of all, like I said, they were all put in the water at the same time. And this one, for whatever reason, it just took off compared to the other two. And the recommendation is normally about, you get the 6 inches, you can put it in the soil. But we wanted to keep these out because we wanted to be able to show them to you, before we put it in soil. Like I said, this sprouted sometime in January. We put it over water, like I said, January 27th. And so that's a little over a month. And we have here. Now, this is going to fill out. This is going to continue to grow.
Actually, I'll come around so I can point to what I'm showing you. You actually can see where the new leaf formation is going to occur all the way down the stem, all the way down the stem. It's about 10 leaves that are forming on the stem here.
Mm-hmm. So, and again, all these have been started inside. Now, once spring hits and the temperature changes and we get a lot of good sunshine, these will go outside and they will probably really take off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so again, just another way of growing. This technically is not from scrap; it's really from seed. But something that we normally would throw away. We encourage people, don't throw it away. Start, putting this stuff to use and continue to grow. Now, which one do you want to do next?
Let's do the cabbage.
Okay.
I'm just going to hold it up. Now, this is a cabbage that I'm growing, and I believe I put this in February. This was last month. But anyway, you buy your head of cabbage. I don't want to waste this. You buy your head of cabbage, and you generally cut it off the core, that centerpiece. It'll drip. I'm just going to sit here. And you generally cut that core out because it's bitter, the texture. You don't want to include that with your cabbage leaves. What I did with the core, and it was, I would say about 3 inches thick, is I just skewed it just like we did the avocado seeds with some toothpicks, hovered it over a jar of water, just letting the bottom of the core rest in the water, and waited for the roots to grow. And I think it was about 2.5 to 3 weeks where the roots were strong enough. And then I was able to transplant it, transfer it into a pot of soil. And I think you can see that. I hope you can see it. But as you can see, the leaf formation is growing. And as soon as the weather breaks, as Coach Darren said, we're going to transfer this outside and put it in a larger pot so that the cabbage head will have an opportunity to grow and develop, and hopefully into a nice big cabbage. And in a couple of months, maybe I'll be showing you the cabbage that I harvested from my cabbage plant from the scrap that I salvaged and started a new plant with.
And if it's, anything like, was it our collard green plant last year?
Yeah.
Like spinach, you basically harvest the leaves and it will just continue to grow, as long as it's in season.
Well, I'm just gonna caveat that a little
Okay.
bit for the cabbage. We're not going to harvest the leaves from the cabbage.
Okay.
We need that to help protect the head that's going to grow in the center. So we're going to leave this intact, but we will harvest all of the leaves along with the head of the cabbage once it's developed.
Okay. So what did we cover? So we did 2
We did
potatoes.
the potatoes,
you
we
know.
did the avocados.
You did
the
the cabbage. Now here, all right, I showed this last, in our
Beautiful.
previous session, and this is lemon grass.
Mhm.
All right, look how long those are, and all of these were again grown from the base of the lemongrass. We had purchased lemongrass. We cut, the green off and took the stem and kind of followed the same thing. We put the stem in water to let it start growing roots. Once it got, some healthy roots, we then took it and put it in soil. Now, these, lemongrass supposedly grows out wide. And on one of these, you will see where it actually,
You can leave it there.
okay.
It's best, it's
All right.
full right there.
All right. So this leaf right here, this actually grew out one of the other stems. So as lemongrass grows, it's going to keep growing out this way.
Mhm.
So this pot, is going to actually become too small. But just look how tall they got. And again, they were all pretty much at the level of the top of the stem when I, put them in water and then transfer them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, buy once, let nature give to you over and over. As I say, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And again, I keep saying this has all been done inside so far. So anybody can do it.
Right, and that's ready for harvesting again.
Yes.
And what we'll do is dehydrate it,
Mm-hmm.
dry it out, and chop it up so that we can use it in tea and in our recipes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's our lemon balm. And you have we have peas, except the peas didn't really come from scraps. Mhm.
Did they come from seed?
They really came from, we had done some microgreen pea shoots, and I was able to harvest most of the pea shoots as microgreens, and then there was some that was left over, and I said, again, let me just try, and I took what was left over and kept watering them, and they continued to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So they went past the microgreen part, and they started to form the full mature plant. Then I separated them. Now, what Coach Mitchell has in her hand is one pot that has, I think, 5 pea plants, which this is the first time I'm growing peas, so I have no idea what it's going to grow into. But just so you know, this is 5. There's a small pot right there, which I think has another 5. And we have 4 pots already outside because peas, they consider a cold hardy plant. So, even though, we're just now starting to get warm weather where we are, we still have some cold nights, but the peas will be able to handle it. So we have 4 pots with about 5 pea plants in each of them.
Yep, and I just want to point out the growth structure of the stem here. It's a viney plant, so once we take these outside, we'll string them up because they're going to need support, and because you don't want them laying on the ground because they need the structural support in order for the pea pods to grow at length.
Yes.
So,
and again, once we transition to outside, we'll show you some of the creative ways of how we picked up things here and there that just serve as a trellis. So again, we're trying to keep everything economical and creative. So right there, we got all of this out. So again, 2 small pots, 4 larger pots outside. Plus, we've already had the microgreens, which we consumed. And let me just show you this.
what do you want?
No, this right here.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm about to get geeky here, but some of you might recognize what these are. All right. These are, those little test tubes that you might have used in chemistry class at some point in your life. All right. Well, I use these for when I have small, just stems, and you know what? I want to put in water so they stand up easier. If I put them in a jar or something, they tend to lean over. So these serve as, you know, just a container to allow me to root certain things. So you will see here, these were also more pea plants that are growing, and eventually they'll get transferred to a pot. Now, all of this came out of a pack of seeds that cost 25 cents.
Yep. And we promise these are not serum or plasma or blood collectors.
Right. No.
We're growing plants. We're growing plants.
And in here too, just show you being able to have stuff. These are carrots. Again, we did carrot microgreens. These were left over, so tried to rescue them, stuck them right in here for water, and you will see they are rooted.
And if you have kids or grandkids, trust me, try this with them and watch how excited they are to just plant and see the fruits of their labor. Their kids love gardening. They really do. It amazes them to see how things grow. And this would be a great project for, you know, the kids.
Yes.
And here, you know, we have, of course, it wouldn't be growing from scraps or growing your own if we didn't highlight my pineapples.
Yes.
You know, I'm a pineapple grower enthusiast nowadays. So I have already 7 established pineapple plants, one that's really mature, too big to bring over. But I've started a couple of more. I have 3 new ones that I've transferred to pots. Coach, I'm going to hold that one. I think the roots have started to grow out on that crown. Yes. So if you just turn it around. So I have 2 new pineapples. I couldn't resist harvesting the crowns and saving them to grow because they looked so beautiful and full. So we have roots growing on the biggest one here. In a couple of weeks, that'll be ready for transplanting into soil. This one is taking a while for the roots to grow. Usually they grow out of the side here. But as you can see, I hope you can see it, really tiny roots are growing on the bottom there. So that's going to take a couple of weeks to get established, and then I can transfer that into soil. And that'll bring my total up to 12 pineapple plants. I'm going to have a whole pineapple garden, yes. You know, I didn't want to say the other word, right? Okay, and here is one of the newer ones that you can pick that up for me, that I've transplanted. It had established roots. I set it in the water for a couple of weeks. It had established roots, and it's now in soil, and it will go outside where they love the sunshine, and hopefully I'll have a pineapple in a year or 2.
Right. Now, you know, if you're looking at these, you know, these pineapple plants, and they may look a little stressed, you know, you might see the brown leaves or whatever. That's just, you know, due until once they start rooting, they get some sunshine. And if you look at, you know, Coach Mitchell's older plants, you will see they become full green. You know, so, you know, they're now just going through their growing stage.
Right. It's going to go through the little growing pains. And like Coach Darren said, the little brown, if you see the browning leaves, you can just get you a clean pair of garden shears. You want them clean, you want them sterile, and you can just nip off the brown, just cut it off, a clean cut. It's like doing surgery. It's like performing surgery. You have to have sterile equipment, sterile tools, and you want to make sure that you don't cross-contaminate. Get shears specifically for the sole use of your pineapple plant if you're going to grow pineapple, so that you can cut the browning tips off of your leaves, of your plant. I'm sorry.
Well,
and that's it.
Yes. So, you know, again, what's behind us is an assortment of things we're growing. All these are really from seeds. And we have on another table a container where we're growing a variety of tomatoes. And we really want to just, again, stress, the seeds we have here are either seeds we saved from the, say with the tomatoes or the peppers, seeds that we saved and we just replanted them, or we bought seeds again at 25 cents a pack. We did go to the seed store, the farming supply store, and bought some seeds. They were just a little more expensive, but still cheaper than if you bought one piece of produce. So
and you only got one serving.
right. So we had a whole pack of seeds, and then so it was the seeds that we bought, seeds. Oh, and planted seeds that actually got from the public library. So wherever you are, we want to stress to you, check your public library and see if they have a seed library. Our public library seeds are free. And actually it was easier to get seeds than it is to get a book. So
all they ask is that you bring a seed back.
Yes. So after you harvest, so you didn't even need a library card. All you do was just sign how many you took, and then again, out of just a nice gesture, they just encourage people bring back so that they can keep things going.
Right, and bring back something different if you can, if you're growing something different than what they have. But yeah, they catalog the seeds, they catalog the type, the variety. So when they give you the seed, you log out what you've taken so that they will know how much they have in inventory.
Yes.
Yep. And one other thing we want to stress, it would be remiss of us if we didn't talk about getting little tacky bug stickers for your pots, because your plants will attract gnats and aphids. So you want to try to mitigate that before you see them, so that they don't just overpopulate, because then it's a beast to get rid of them. You have to take all your plants outside, and that's a whole other process that you don't want to have to go through with your plants. Buy you some neem oil so you can spray your soil and your plant leaves. That's a natural oil for your plants, and it keeps the little gnats or aphids, fruit flies away from your plants. So these you can buy. They come in different shapes, different sizes. You can buy a sheet and cut to size, but these stick right down into your soil. They're pennies on the dollar. I think we got like 200 and something for like $9. So it comes covered and it's sticky. Each side, it has two sides so that it can catch all those little pesky bugs. And you just stick it right down in your soil. I'll stick it here. And it doesn't harm your plants, and it keeps the gnats away. In case you were curious as to what was in, sticking in the pot. And that's doing a really good job in keeping the gnats at bay.
And there are other ways of handling, the gnats. Just so you know, if you see them, there's nothing wrong with your plants.
No.
It typically comes from overwatering your plants. It's the moist soil that they tend to be attracted to, and they will lay their eggs in the moist soil. So it becomes really hard to get rid of them. So even though we catch the adults on these, yellow sticky things, there will still be some eggs that will hatch in the soil. Again, no harm to the plant, to you. They're just annoying. One of the other things you want to do is, as you start to grow, especially in pots, is if you can grow what they call bottom water, is really an ideal way. So the top of your soil doesn't get wet. If you can always water from the bottom, in most cases you should be able to do that. In some cases you might not be able to, but that's what you really want to do. Now we all know when we start out, what do? We water from the top.
Yeah, water in the top, because we don't think the roots are getting enough water if we water in the bottom.
Right.
Trust me, the plant finds a way.
Yes.
To absorb it.
Which is kind of ironic that we think that way, because the roots are at the bottom, but we, will water from the top. I think we do that it was just easier.
All right. Well, I think that's it. We have one more little veggie here, and I know a lot of people don't like onions, but I love onions. grew up eating them like apples. But when you cut your bottom off of your onion, you don't have to throw that away either. You can just sit it in water and it will begin to grow another stalk of onion for you. And it will also root. This one I've left in the water probably a little past time to transfer to soil, but it still has roots, and I'm going to stick it in the soil. But you can see the green part of the onion, the chive part of the onion is beginning to grow. So I'll put this in soil, and we'll harvest onions, and we'll have fresh homegrown onions in a couple of months.
So my recommendation is to start as soon as you can. To make this sustainable and worth your while, you want to start, and then you eventually get on the schedule where you can harvest enough to carry you through possibly the off season. And for us, our goal this year, we did really well last year with tomatoes and peppers, which are the things that we normally recommend because they're easiest. I think they're two of the easiest produce to grow. But we really want to try to step it up this year and grow a large variety of tomatoes and more.
We actually did really good with spinach as well.
Yes.
We did really, really well with spinach. And we have spinach outside that is really cold hardy, and it survived the winter, which we don't and haven't had a real harsh winter down here anyway. But we actually did really well with the spinach because we had maybe 3 or 4 servings?
Yeah,
3 or 4 meals, 3 or 4 harvests from the spinach.
Yes. Yeah. So, in one of the gardening groups, I should say, that we belong, a woman made a recommendation to someone starting out, and I really, really feel the same way about soup. Once you start growing your own food, you'll never look at your food the same. And which is why I recommend from a health and wellness coach, as you take people through various stages, is you want to get them to eventually start growing their own food because it's really about nutrition, and growing your own food will bring you closer to nutrition. Or I usually go the other way. It's getting them to focus on nutrition more so than calories or anything else, because it's easier to make that transition and understand how growing your own food is just the next step, when you're on a nutrition journey, more so than on a calorie journey.
Right. All right. Well, I think that just about does it. Did you want to talk about the humidifiers?
No, we touched on that before, but when you're growing indoors, it's good to have a humidifier because, it helps to, like these will just mist the plants every so often to give that humidity that plants need. Also, keeping your plants close together also will help with the humidity, but that's really about it. Next week we're going to really focus more on some seeds and show you some of the things that we're growing, and we'll be closer to spring. For those who joined us in our last session, I challenged you to start the process. I don't know if you did, but we really hope people, if you're listening, that you do this, you do start.
I have to give a nod to my brother and his wife, James and Beatrice, who have started, and they have a really nice, established seeds and
scraps
like collards, lemon trees, lemon seeds, and they have the plant is coming up. So they started, and they'll be ready to transfer their indoor garden outdoors into the garden within the next week or 2.
Yes.
So, kudos to you.
Yes. And again, anybody else out there, if you are doing this, please share, your progress with us. If you have questions, we belong to groups that have, one group has 3 million members globally, and it's just a nice vibe because people are there to help one another. And I think it's real important for us to do the same. Now, the one difference is on their platform, they're just individual gardeners who are exchanging
Just
ideas.
sharing ideas
Yeah.
and some of the lessons learned. And always there's, people there to help with suggestions on, if you have an issue or you encounter a problem with, your plants. You drop a question into the comments and you get 1,000 responses, and it's so positive, and it's all about community.
Yes.
Which is what gardening is. Like, just like plants like community, we too like community as people.
And where we differentiate ourselves is that we're actually giving you, excuse me, on those, I don't know if it's allergies, hay fever, I don't know what. But we are sharing step-by-step instructions to get you moving. So again, please, join, please share, please, again, be part of the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So listen, we want to thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we hope that you take some of these tips that we hope have been useful in either kickstarting or continuing your growing journey. So
Yep. Remember, you can use anything to grow in. All right. So there's no excuses.
no excuses. Listen, we hope that, again, that your health and wellness journey has started. If not, let's begin it. We're here to journey with you. I'm Coach Mitchell.
And I'm Coach Darren.
As we always say, if you don't start now, there will be no next. Have a great evening.
Good night.